All right, welcome to CHAPS Darkside podcast, episode 6. In this episode, we have a very close and dear friend of mine, a team that I've been working with for years, numerous numbers of years now, and countless numbers of investigations, and even more countless numbers of gag reels that we've managed to create with these guys here. So without further ado, on this fledgling podcast that I've got going and seeing how it moves forward, we've got Wes Coleman of the Correctional Officers Paranormal Society. Hey, Wes.
Hey, how you doing there, Dave?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. You're always loud. So,
hey, listen, just before we get started, I just wanted to say, first of all, thanks for having me. And second of all, we're really thinking about you with everything that's going on with you with your medical issues, and we're hoping they find the answer soon. And, we're all behind your butt, and if there's anything I can do, just, you know where to find me.
Well, of course. Well, we are recording, but that's okay. It's a perfect opening message. All that is, it is what it is, and during COVID times and all that noise, that everything gets futtered about and all that. It is what it is. I've got to deal with it. At least I'm fitting into clothes that I did when I was in junior high. So that's a good thing. You deal with the symptoms, and it is what it is. And I know at least now with the team, I'm not as able to get out. But then again, at this point in time, really none of us is able to get out all that much. But I've been doing a lot more focus on case management and historical backgrounds, as well as finding little experiments and stuff that you can do, or finding evidence that I can have them review and see, and learning curves and that noise. In which case, I've found you kind of figure out what an investigat is. That's kind of a term I've quoted, an investigat, which is just obviously that person that just wants to show up at an investigation for the cool factor, and then beyond that, that's what they do, right? And it's a good challenge for people. Now, of course, your team is much smaller. I mean, so do you find that a challenge? We've got a couple of investigations going, safety protocols and all that noise, but teams are smaller for it, and we now quota it 8 weeks before we can get in there, so that we can get history, any tests we're going to do, everything all wrapped up, so that when we get in there, it is a well-oiled machine. How has COVID affected you guys for that?
Well, it's obviously been very difficult. I think we're a little bit more on the ultra safe side when it comes to investigations right now, just because if we happen to contract it and bring it into the prison, that's a whole system that's really messed up. So we've kind of went on our own kind of self-quarantine over the last 6 months. We haven't done anything. I haven't done anything with Richard. Obviously, I can't freely flow into the United States or England. I had several trips to England planned this year that were, quashed, and also the United States.
Likewise.
But our biggest problem is we all work shift work as correctional officers. So to get everybody lined up to do an investigation, generally speaking, somebody has to take a day off, or we have to work around our schedules, get somebody to work for us. So it's a bit of a challenge, but we make do, and we try our very best to help as many people as we can.
I'm finding kind of a different yet similar challenge. Obviously there's 20 members to CHAPS from here up to the Ottawa Valley. We have a significant number of people on the team right now that are on the DL. One had a heart attack, one's battling cancer. We had just a heap, right? And then some are quarantining, of course. And then the ones that are actually able to get out and do things are all pretty new. We did an investigation on Ghost Road, and we don't do outdoor investigations, but it was more like look, let's just get something to do to get you going. It was a great challenge, because it was like, this isn't something we do, so let's see what you do to make the best of it. What kind of an investigation can you make out of a dirt road? I gotta tell you, I'm actually pretty impressed with what they did. because they managed to make a dirt road into a 3-hour investigation. That's great, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, especially when they're new, because I realized when they went up there, and I gave them a box of equipment. I just gave them some old stuff, and I'm like, okay, just go take this, and this, and just do. And I only ever got one phone call saying, how do I turn this on? But other than that, they figured it out on their own. It gave me a bit of confidence in moving forward, and we have an investigation at our Lightning House, which is a place we haven't been able to dispel yet, and it's 2 newbies. There's only 2 of them going. And it's like this, we're gonna make a plan, a roadmap ahead of time of what you're gonna do, and it's up to you. And because we've done this client 5 or 6 times, they've got a bit of a gap, or you know what I mean. Like you know, we've brought this people evidence before, so you know, I'm confident that they can enjoy that. I know that. Yeah, you're right. I guess having you and Chris and Darren in the same place at the same time itself is a challenge, because you guys are all in the same place, aren't you? You're all in the same. Terry's moved on.
Yeah, we are.
But I know I still see Terry's stuff all over the place. But do you guys have worked with mediums and that? Is it Shimmer Horn you work with, or?
Yeah, we were for a while there. We've kind of branched off. Terry's decided to go his separate way with Carrie Lynn, and they're kind of focusing more on children in the paranormal, kids that have you know, issues with hauntings, and so it's they've decided to kind of do their own thing, which is fine. I mean. You know, everybody at some point goes their separate way and finds their own way, and we're completely supportive.
Hey, look, that's almost like what Chip Coffey did that for a long time, the whole Paranormal Kids thing. And I think there's something to it. Kids are more open-minded, right? So good on him. Good on him. I like Terry.
Well, I kind of the Chip Coffey thing, you know, once he started doing his pajama parties, I just couldn't keep up anymore. So.
How am I supposed to follow that? Come on. So one of the things that you guys I always admired is that you have a rather decent mindset when it comes to equipment. You know, you do have your more advantageous approach to some of the newer stuff, but you're very pragmatic. I appreciate that, and you're realistic. And frankly, as I've given credit to you guys on about 30 different shows, that our habit of using headphones as a parabolic on the audio, we got from you guys way back from when, you know, we were working together, you know, when you guys were a fairly fresh team. And as I was always saying, that, you know, take your head out of your ass, learn from people. And I thought that it was stellar, and I tried on those headphones, and I was like, holy shit, look at that, what a difference, right? Just to make you feel more involved with the game, if anything. It's something else. It's something we do to this day. So I wonder, like, is there any kind of equipment you're more? What are you more attached to these days? What are you less attached to? What are you losing faith in? What do you want?
Well, first of all, I mean, I have to give Darren all the credit. There's two others other than myself in COPS, Correctional Officers Parent Society. Darren and Chris. And Darren is our tech guy, and he puts together stuff like that, and it's a little experimental. You know, we just want to see how new equipment works, and, you know, if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And he's been extremely instrumental in, excuse the pun, instrumental, in, you know, putting together all these pieces of equipment. And I'm glad, and thank you very much for recognizing that. But with respect to equipment, you know, obviously the audio recorder is, you know, primary, and I'm sure, you know, other people have said that too. I know that's your number one go-to. And then there's, you know, other toys that, I mean, none of it is really proof that there's paranormal. There's none of it is really gives you an idea that, you know, something is 100% paranormal. And all it does is give you indication.
But we're recording again. So yeah, I mean, what's the one great thing about equipment, right? Like, I don't know about you, and here's one of the things that Darren Thomas did for us. We have a bunch of night shot illuminators that we use with our cameras. Top of the line, honestly. It's really great to have that at an arm's length, and of course, I can't overstate the relationship that we have with cops. Frankly, I mean, probably the closest team we know have been there for us for everything, and we've been there through a lot of journeys together, be that good and bad journeys. We've certainly been shoulders for each other. And
well, you were really the start of COPS. I mean, you really, I came to you when I had the idea to form COPS because I definitely wanted to get somebody with a pragmatic approach to the paranormal that I could, basically copy to get, as much information on how to do paranormal investigations. And I mean, we've come a long way. I remember our first meeting in Tim Hortons, however many years ago that was, with Sandy, and you provided a lot of information, and you kind of took us under your wing and brought us out onto investigations and showed us the ropes. And, we're really grateful for everything you've done for us. And, always enjoy getting together with you guys. We always have a few laughs. We always enjoy ourselves. And, when push comes to shove, we're also there for, the important stuff too. And your team is awesome. We all get along fine. And we've had some great adventures, like old prisons, like Ohio State Reformatory, Moundsville, also the Naval Shipyard in Buffalo, just to name a couple. We've had great times together, and a lot of that success and enjoyment and fun we owe to you, and we thank you very much for that.
Well, I thank you, and for us, it's so important as a team to know that you've got that kind of brotherhood out there, because let's face facts, there are lots of teams out there that are looking to piggyback on something and then eventually just shit talk you in the end or whatever. I mean, people are going to go the way they go, and I find that pragmatic teams tend to stick together. The teams that are looking for that kapow, we're famous, they stick together. So I don't really care to be with them. And is there any equipment that you've kind of like gone, yeah, you know what, after using this for a while, I don't think so, or I doubt it will ever?
Well, I bought one of the first Ovilus 3s, and I had a lot of faith in that. I heard lots of great stuff about it. And, both you and I, we both have had successes with the Ovilus. But, it seems to be repetitive, and I kind of question it, even though a lot of people find it very, very helpful. And they say the Ovilus 3 is the best out of them all. I know you can't buy them anymore. I know they go on eBay for like $700 or $800 American. So it's crazy. So I've got one, but I don't have as much faith in it as I used to. But like all of these pieces of equipment over time, you start using it, and it's like something you really like right away, and then it kind of wears on you, and you kind of think, like, I don't know, it's good. It may be a good indication that something might be going on, but is it 100% reliable? Well, no. I mean, nothing is right at this point. So for me, I'm kind of straying away. Like the more and more I've branched off to work with a little bit with Richard Estep, who's a paranormal author out of the States, and he's kind of shown me a lot of different things as well. And I find that if you're engrossed too much in the equipment and what's going on with the equipment, then you're missing a lot of what's going on in the investigation. And I'm not, personally, I've kind of changed the way I've thought about, why am I doing this? Why am I doing the paranormal? It used to be like, like I want to get the piece of evidence that makes everybody believe that, yes, there is, paranormal, there is ghosts, there is spirits, but now it's changed a lot for me. Now it's like I want to try to prove it to myself, and then I'll give that information to other people, whether they want to believe in it, they don't want to believe in it, that's completely up to them. But my primary thing is myself and the things that I can learn from the field by doing all the different various pieces of equipment. But as I say, the biggest thing to me is proving it to myself. And I've had some crazy experiences over the last year that have definitely changed my mind.
Good. Yeah, I know, just for the short stint of equipment, you know, you're right. I can't tell you, like, we've been through kind of like the same phases, right? And it's like you get the phase where you want to buy all the toys and look like, you know, you walk in like an armored tank and people are like, holy shit, these guys must be amazing. And then, you know, I had the STS, SLS, Connect, whatever you want to call it, built for me. Didn't cost me anything, so, and I beta tested it, gotta be honest. I watched people and their results on that, I kind of laugh at it. I'm waiting for the golden unicorn to walk across the screen to prove me wrong. That's one thing, but I do find that most of my equipment now has gone into archive boxes. You know, I've got one primary case where it's like, I know I use this stuff pretty much all the time. And I got like 3 cases of, we'll choose this time, and this time, because I don't want to load the car. And you're right. You remember back when I bought those big $1,600 production cameras, and they had the harnesses on the shoulders? I hated those investigations because A, I was the only one that knew how to use them, and B, so my whole investigation was trying to figure out the 61 buttons that I had to hit. Oh, where's white? Here's white filter here. I've got to pull back on my fade, and I wasn't investigating anymore. I was filming a show. So I hated it. I really hated it. So now, you know what? Audio, camera, video, maybe a thing or two here, but you're right. I want to have that interactive experience. You know, it's like we did Ashmore or many of the bigger prisons and that kind of stuff. When you're there, you don't care. Like that's why that's why I got other bodies there, because I want them to carry the stuff. When we were at West Virginia, I didn't carry anything. I just walked around because I don't give a damn. They're gonna get it. I want to get it. I want to feel it. I want to smell this place, you know. And you definitely once you've felt it, you want it a little more because now you want to prove it. Why? Or was I just thinking about it? Was I giving myself the creeps? Was I? Damn it! It's such a field. Like the paranormal when you get into it. So you mentioned Richard Estep. I realized by looking into Richard, and I know he's going to be on a further show, that he's written, I don't know, 35,000 books. He's certainly written a lot more books than I thought he had. Most paranormal authors that I've come across write 2 or 3 books and they live off that. He's written more books than each time I look, I find another book that he's written. He seems a quiet type, frankly. Can you tell me a little bit about the work with Richard, the Estes method? Like, without going into details, because I know he's going to do it. But can you give me the Cole's notes on how things are with him?
Well, first of all, like Richard and I, we got started through a lovely friend of ours from England named Corinne Besant, who actually invited me up to do the Edinburgh Vaults and different places in Edinburgh as well. And it was through her that I met Richard. She had done an investigation with him at a place called the Jamaican Inn in Cornwall, and she said, "Oh, you guys are going to be great together. Like, you guys think the same. You guys would get along. Same dark, bad sense of humor." And so we exchanged information basically, and I started talking to him, and he invited us to a jail back in 2018, the fall of 2018, Cripple Creek Jail, which is in Colorado. It's like an old West town, incredible place. And he invited us to go there to do investigation. So Chris, Darren, and I went there, and we had a great time. What a fabulous place. The history was amazing. That's another thing about the paranormal. The history is incredible that you learn about these different places. So we did the investigation there, and he also took us to the Stanley Hotel, and we kind of did. He used to be a tour guide there, so he still has a lot of inns there, and he was able to give us an unofficial tour of the place with some investigation involved in there too, which was remarkable. What an incredible historic place that was, and we just kind of all seemed to hit it off, and then after that, we kind of decided to, he asked us to go to other different places, which Darren and Chris are, we're all busy in our own lives. And Darren is, has a bar down in Ecuador, and Chris has a young family. So they weren't able to go on some of the extra things that I was able to go on. But we've done several books together. I've helped him with several of his books. The Hanging Pit, which is his latest one, is about Bodmin Jail in England. I was over there with him, an incredible location. And before that, it was Gacy's Ghost is the name of the book, and and that was over a week investigation at the Haunted Art Theater owned by the amazing Robin Terry, as you know. And we just seem to jive with everything. We get along well, and we've been to different paranormal conferences, and he's really become a really good friend of mine. And in the latest book, he does a dedication to my son. And that was extremely heartwarming for myself, which I can't express into words how that feels. So that's where it kind of sits.
Okay, so obviously then I'm going to have to start competing in friend zone wars here now with Richard. So you're going to hurt.
I didn't hear what you said. So
now I'm going to have to start competing in friend zone wars with Richard.
Oh yeah, well, you have to do what you have to do, right?
So, how are things going out there in Picton, where you guys have the heights?
Good. Well, it's been all placed on hold this year because of the COVID. As you're well aware, it's a paintball facility in normal operating hours, and he's had to really cut back on his business as far as the amount of participants he's allowed to have during a day. So that's kind of put a hold on things. We just kind of got the green light a few days ago saying that he might have a couple of dates open, but the problem is he's got to make up for lost time, right? So he's lost a few months of paintball. And he does night paintball too, believe it or not, and the military comes in there and does the night paintball, and it's very popular as well. So it's tough to get in there to do paranormal stuff, but he's promised me that he'll arrange something for me.
Yeah. Well, Wes, this has been a lot of fun. Is there any shout outs, any closing words, remarks you'd like to say?
I don't think so. I mean, the one thing I kind of wanted to make clear, which is the way I think about things has changed a lot. One of the places that really changed my mind in February, we did the Bel Air House in Ohio. Yeah. And it was off the charts. I have never been to a location that, a small location. I mean, we look at the places we've been to. We've been to massive prisons, and we've had little bits and pieces of evidence here and there. Or that we classify as evidence, but the stuff that happened in that house really changed the way I think about the paranormal. I actually visibly saw my first poltergeist activity with my own eyes, and you know me, I'm my integrity, my credibility, I would not compromise that for anything. So when I say I see something, I saw it. I mean, to the viewers or listeners out there, that's again, up to you, but I know what I saw. There was this, and I'll tell you what it was. They had this piano, and it was in the middle of the hallway of this house. And this house is like people believe that it's haunted because it's on ley lines. And if you read up about ley lines, it'll give you information how that can cause a lot of activity.
Right.
But we actually saw this, it was like a vine that was growing on this candlestick that was on top of this piano, and it started shaking violently. And I'm looking at it, and unfortunately, it's kind of like the Scooby-Doo thing. I'm the only one that can see it. The other two are sitting on a couch that's on the other side of the room, so they didn't have the view I had. And the thing started shaking violently. I went over, I tried to debunk it the best I can, no drafts, no vents. I mean, you're in a house, it's sealed. Couldn't really figure out what it was that, was causing this thing to shake. And in my mind, I just thought, okay, that's the coolest experience I've had so far. And that was on the very first day, and we slept 4 nights in that house.
That's awesome.
And if you know me, I always tell you, I don't like to sleep at a location that I'm investigating, because you kind of leave yourself open. You're vulnerable, because when you go to sleep, you don't have any control. So that was pretty scary. I guess if you want to call it that.
Awesome.
Interesting, exciting.
Is there a video?
Another experience in a room where I started tearing up and getting very upset, and I'm not like that at all. Like, I'm not. Well, you know me. Like, I'm just. I'm a prison guy, right? So.
Yeah.
But it was such an emotional thing, and the woman that owns the house, Kirsten Lee is her name, fabulous woman. She later told us that, there was an assault in that room of a sexual nature, and it's going to be in a book too. There'll be a book about that house too, and it was incredible. So I was getting all these feelings of this oppression. And then the last kind of big thing that happened is there was only 3 of us on the investigation, and we were upstairs, and it was the last night, and it was about 4 a.m. and we asked the spirits, we were doing an EVP session, if they wanted us to leave, and we didn't get any response or anything like that, and we're like, okay. So we talked a little more for another half hour or so. Then we went downstairs. Well, the back door was wide open when we came downstairs. And all the doors were locked. There's only 3 of us. We account for each one of us. Can't figure out how that door got open. We went ballistic. When we saw the door open, we thought somebody had broken in. We combed the house. Screaming at people like, if you're in here, you better get out, because you're dealing with, Richard Estep is a big guy too. He's like 6'4", so, we weren't going to take any crap, but there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing in that house.
That's cool.
That place really changed my mind, where I used to be so pragmatic and so all about the evidence, but now I've got this spiritual component, this, I don't know really how to explain it, but it's non-physical.
The metaphysical. So
at one time I was like 95% to 100%, all about the evidence, all about proving things. And now it's like, I can't dismiss the things that happened to me in that house. And I suggest to you and your team, if you ever get a chance, Kristen Lee, you got to get down there. You'll have an incredible experience.
Oh, that was our plan. Did you ever get any of that, that investigation on video at all, or is it?
We don't do a lot of video. We did once I saw the vine kind of shaking violently. We did put cameras in that hallway, but most of ours is like audio. Yeah. We do the audio stuff.
And the Estes method, and I guess we didn't really get into that either, but the Estes method is an incredible way to, again, blew my mind how that stuff works. A lot of people don't like the spirit box, but if you use it the right way, it can give you results, and I'm not saying that it's, that's the piece of equipment or anything like that, but because I never had any faith in it before. I just thought it was loud, irritating, like it just, destroyed the environment at an investigation. But when you do the Estes method, you're plugged into it and you have headphones on and you're blindfolded. Yeah. And you're hearing the spirit box, the white noise and everything in your ears, so you can't hear what another investigator is asking questions, and the stuff that you hear from the spirit box, you're spitting out.
Right.
So you'll hear words and spit out, but you don't know what the questions are. So if the answers relate to the questions, I mean, it's incredible. And we had that so much at the Bel Air house. Like it was spot on. Like
a lot of
not obvious things.
A lot of
very. Sorry.
No, sorry. A lot of blind testing.
Yeah, like it's double blind and even triple blind. Sometimes we get an investigator that's not even at the location ask questions across the internet, across Facebook or something like that, and the answers still come out. And as I said, they were very non-obvious words that would come out. Like I got goat. Like what the heck is goat, right? So we record everything. And then we talked to the owner after, and she said, well, Goat is the name of the gardener at the Bel Air house back like 10 years ago or whatever. Like that was his nickname, Goat. Nobody would have known that.
Neat.
We got the name Proctor, and when I think of Proctor, I think of Salem, Salem, Massachusetts, the Proctor house, that sort of thing. So I'm thinking, why would I get Proctor? Well, that was the name of a tenant that was in the house previously, too, that we had no idea.
Wow.
So just these little things that were coming up that, it was mind-blowing. It really was. I enjoyed it so much. I was kind of glad to get out of there. Now I can hardly wait to get back, but after 4 or 5 days, it's really draining.
Yeah.
And it really takes a lot out of you, but thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, and there's certainly something to be said for trying new methodology. There's going to be some out there doesn't work at all, but I mean, we've had a bit more, because we haven't been able to get together, a bit more workings on the metaphysical aspects of things, and that's okay because it exists. It's just how as humans can we harness it, right? And that's where it really comes down to. So, wow.
You can't prove it. You can't. Yeah. There's no way of proving it. I can't prove anything that happens, really, like beyond a reasonable doubt. I just know it happened.
Yeah, it's just yourself.
There's a guy named Barry Taff. I don't know if you've heard of him. He investigated the movie there. Oh my goodness, it's slipping my mind. The one from the Entity from the 1970s.
Oh yeah.
And he was the chief investigator on that case. And he says, by the way, again, like the movie has nothing to do with what actually happened. They kind of spruced it up a bit. But he said that a lot of it, he believes in his mind, is telekinesis. Right. So when I actually saw that kind of bush move, was it me making that move? And there's a whole part of our brain we don't really use, yeah. Right? And I think for us to say that if we can't put it into scientific terms, or if we can't provide the scientific evidence, I think we're kind of thinking small, like I think we need to look at the big picture, and look beyond, and just leave our minds open to the possibilities, because anything can happen. And as you know, I'm not, and I haven't been in the past, a very spiritual person when it comes to investigations, but it's starting to open up my mind more, and I'm just leaving it open. Who knows if it's true, if it's not, if it's telekinesis, if it's paranormal, who knows? But I think the most important thing about our field is being able to have that open mind and to
hear what others have to say. You don't always have to believe them or whatever they say, but just keep that open mind and try to experience things for yourself that, you wouldn't normally. I love learning. I mean, it's all about learning. You've taught me so much, man. Like, I can't even begin to tell you the things that you've done to make me, the person that I am today within the paranormal. I mean, I just don't have enough thanks to tell you. I mean, so, it's, you got to keep that open mind.
Yeah. Well, Cops and Chaps have got a long road yet down to go. So,
Absolutely.
Wes, this has been a fantastic podcast. So I'll be putting this up in the next couple minutes and share the damn hell out of it. And let's take over and open up the world's mind, okay?
All right, thanks, Dave.
Peace, bro. Be good.
Take good.